Hello everyone, how are you feeling today? It's Everyone here, and today I'm coming at you with my Counter Fairy update. So first things first, before we begin with the deck profile, I will just say this. Because I'm a little bit busy still, it's going to be like 2 weeks before I'm like going over the things that are going to be updated to this channel, so sorry about that, but we'll like have conventions, holidays right now in my country, so it's going to take a while, but not that long, so I will be come back to like a normalish schedule, but we'll talk about the schedule and the things that I want to do on the channel and the way that I will see kind of the future. And the second thing I want to talk about is that this deck profile is going to be kind of unique because I'm also going to talk about the options and the things that already been revealed that we're going to get in Soul Fusion, as well as the cards that could change the deck in Savage Strike, which is the next set that's coming out for Japan. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting things off with the monster, the boss monster lineup haven't changed. Only one copy of Skater Air Knight Pershaf. To be honest, in my opinion, this card is so poorly designed. Like, seriously, this card is a very terrible boss monster, to be honest. Its effect is not rewarding. Its special summoning effect is way too much costly in the way of, like, banishing 2 fairies. And just in general, it's not even a level 8, so you could have been using it for a trade-in target. No, it's a level 9 for some reason. This one specifically is a card that I, in the near future, will cut down, and I would recommend if you have it. Unfortunately, I don't have it, but if you have the Synchro Pershaf, I recommend to run that in the extra deck as well because you have room, but I specifically don't have it, so I have to run one of these. Just to get the mileage out of the trap. But, you know, just if I have the ability to get 2 copies of the Synchro, I'm probably going to cut this guy down because it's really terrible monster. It's really terrible. I don't like him, like, at all. But, you know, just for the time being, like I said, you have to run this guy. But I think he's really, really terrible, unfortunately. And it's kind of a shame because they're doing a little bit of they're doing, not a little bit, they're doing a lot better job, Konami, even though that sometimes they're doing some things that are annoying. They do have the ability, they do know how to create a good boss monster now. So this one is just, it feels like a flaw to me. I don't know why it was created like this. But enough about the bad card, let's go to the good cards. So for the good cards, you run triple copies of Guiding Ariadne and triple copies of Bountiful Artemis. Oh, and one last thing just to say, you don't have to run this. Like I said, if you don't like him, you don't have to run this. I'm only running it to just get the benefits out of the trap. Anyway, for the 2 best cards in the deck, in my opinion, 3 copies of Guiding Ariadne because it's just taking away all of the drawbacks of counter traps, and 3 copies of Bountiful Artemis because it just draw for you everything. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty amazing. So those 2 cards are really, really amazing, and I don't think they need any more explanation, except that maybe Guiding Ariadne, a lot of people forget that when you destroy her, with even Phoenix and Cerber, with Phoenix, for example, I get a search, so it's like, it's really, really stupid. But anyway, that's pretty much it for that. For the 3 ops, for the 2 ops, we run 2 copies of Valkyria and 2 copies of Minerva. Specifically, in the Card of the Mice version, I still think you need to run only 2 Minerva, but there are some people who run 3, and Valkyria probably not run at all. Valkyria, in my hand, it's a really, really good card, but like only in this variant, which is the Tide of the Breveran variant. She's really, really good because she has the ability to just pretty much search for you a Light Fairy directly from your hand when you negate stuff. So that can be like an Honest, or any card that you want to just, you know, continue your place. Then the Scholar Minerva, when you activate a counter trap, she get a 500 attack immediately, and when you do have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, you pretty much add a counter trap that with a different name from your graveyard to your hand if you have any in the graveyard. So those 2 cards are really, really useful. I don't think you want to run more than 2 each, because yeah, sure, you could have the problem of banishing them with Tides, with Potted Desires, but to be honest, you only want them to be Tide of the Breveran targets. Next up, for the 1-offs, 1 copy of Zerados, just because I want 1 card to be like searchable for my Sanctuary in the Sky that I have, and just in general, it's a 2100 beat stick, worst case scenario if you have Sanctuary on the Sky on the field, so it's really good. 1 copy of Mental to pop cards. I don't think you need more than 1. There's some people who like to run more than 1, but I specifically think it's a little bit way too much. It's like one of those that's really good, but on the other hand doesn't do anything. So yeah. But I would say if you don't want to run this, I would recommend to run either like a second mental or the what it called the barrier statue of the light monsters. Yeah, because it's a fairy and a level 4, so it's really good. And then the last one is Honest, which I sometimes search with Tides of the Brethren and then just bounce back to my hand because it's really good. So that pretty much does it for the counter fairies themselves. I believe that's 14 monsters. Now we'll move on to the spells. So first off, 3 copies of the Sanctum of Pershav. I don't really think it should have been a continuous spell. I think this card should have been a field spell, to be honest, because because it's a continuous spell, it's take out of your place in like the spell and trap zone, so it's making like if you have Guiding Ariadne the ability to only put 3 spells and put 3 counter traps, which I think kind of stupid. As well, just in general, if it's been a field spell, it will be a lot better for this deck. But in general, it is a good card, although I do think the effect of like the put on the top of the deck should have been like a shuffling effect, because that would have been a lot more better, even though it's working really, really well with, what her name again, Bountiful Artemis. But just in general, I think it should have been a mini Pot of Avarice effect. And just in general, you know, it's nice card to protect your set spells and traps, but I don't know, it could have been a lot better. That's one of the biggest issues I have with the Counter Fairies structure deck, is that a lot of the cards could have been made a lot more better, but like by a tiny little bit and a little bit of a change, and that's kind of a shame because this deck could have been a lot stronger than it already is. But we'll talk about the things that could strengthen it in probably a second when we get to the draw power. Then I'm also playing 1 Sanctuary in the Sky because we have Zerados, so we can search this card, so it's like playing 5 copies overall. But like I said, if I do open up with this, it's not a problem to just normal summon Zerados and use him as a Tide of the Brethren target, so it's really, really nice as well. So, yeah, 1 copy of Sanctuary in the Sky, and that pretty much does it for like the Counter Fairies related spells. Next up, 3 copies of Tide of the Brethren. This is the Tide of the Brethren version. If you're playing the Card of Demise version, you probably only want to play this card at 1, max 2. But yeah, this is just pretty much what it is. It's a really good card, and you want to play him at 3 if you're playing this version. Next up for the draw power. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Awesome, it's really, really good. You don't really care about banishing 10 cards at the top of your deck. I mean, it could be problematic, but on the other hand, like, you don't really care overall. Like, you really don't care. But, you know, sometimes it could be problematic, but I'd rather see the cards in my hands than more on my deck. So it's like, it's a different kind of way. Like, there are some decks that I don't understand why people run Pot of Desires, but in this particular deck, yeah, it's pretty obvious why you run it. 1 copy of Card of Demise, even though it has Tide of the Brethren, sometimes I want specifically to get more cards, and sometimes I don't see Tide of the Brethrens. And just in general, just have the ability to get additional draw power if, like I said, don't see ties. It's really, really nice. So it's a nice one-off. 1 copy of Upstart Goblin because it's a plus. It's not a +1, just like it's a 39 deck consistency. And then lastly, Pot of Duality, because like I said, sometimes I don't have the ability to special summon anyway, and I just rather just make my combo pieces. Now, speaking about the draw power, as you know, it was been revealed, I don't remember the name of the spell, but in Savage Strike it has been revealed to have a new kind of, what is his name again? A new kind of pot card, which is the one that work with the banishing from the extra deck. When we'll get that, I'm probably going to change those 2 to it and give myself a little bit more of a power boost, because Counter Fairies don't really 100% care about the extra deck. So having that kind of a boost will be really, really nice as well. And also, if you're playing the Card Demise version, there's a particular card that come out in Soul Fusion, which is the, what her name again? The kind of like dark fairy girl that is pretty much like the World Child, not World Child, like the Forbidden Girl, which work with Forbidden Child, Forbidden Dress, and all that stuff. She's a really, really good card as well. I mean, I do wish she was a light because it could have made her a lot more better in this deck, but in general, it's a nice card, I guess, if you're playing the Card Demise variant anyway. But like I said, It's dependent on you. In the near future, when we'll get like the new pot card, which is probably going to be a little while, at least for like 5 months. But when we'll get that, I will probably switch those 2 cards because it will be a lot more better for this deck, and it wouldn't hinder me from special summoning. So that's really nice as well. And that pretty much does it for the draw power and does it for the spells of the deck. Now we'll move on to the traps. So for the traps, I decided to drop down, if I haven't dropped down in the last profile already, I decided to drop a Rebirth of Persia after 2, because it is a nice card, I guess, but it's like it's really blocking me from doing stuff, and I have to discard if I don't have Guiding Ariadne. But it is a nice card overall because it can negate everything, so it's really cool. It's mostly good like late game, or like I said, card like in cardamized variant, it's actually kind of a bad card, so you don't want to play it. But in this version, you can play it, and it could be really nice. But I never think you need to run more than 2 because it's just a cloggy card, and like if you don't have Guiding Ariadne, it's just costing way too much in my opinion. So again, one really poorly designed card in my opinion, because it is really good and I get it, but it's like, why so much cost? And just when I have Guiding Ariadne, just a plus. But why it was like also revealing a counter trap and all that stuff. Like the revealing counter trap part, in my opinion, is just super unnecessary. Next up, 2 copies of Divine Punishment. This is not the version of the Card of Demise, so it's like I can't get a 100% mileage out of it because I don't run like Sanctuary in the Sky so much and like, you know, trying to dig into it. So Divine Punishment for me is just a 2-off. It's a really good card, but like I said, I don't really focus on the Sanctuary in the Sky, so yeah, only 2. Then 2 copies of Ultimate Providence. This one, when you get Guiding Ariadne, is just freaking crazy. It's just a good card with no drawback. It's a lot more better than this one. Even though you don't get a monster, it's just a lot better. Then 2 copies of Drastic Drop-Off. Drastic Drop-Off is a card that I will always consider good in the case of like counter traps, when you like, you know, are having counter fairies. Because when your opponent add a card from their hand, a search or whatever, you can just immediately just get that card off their hand. Really cool. 1 copy of Negate Attack to stop, you know, attacks, so that makes sense. And then I'm running a full Solemn Brigade, which is 3 copies of Solemn Strike, 1 copy of Judgment, and 1 copy of Warning. To be honest, specifically, I know like people only running one copy list of Strike, but for me specifically, I just felt like Solemns are so powerful, especially Judgment now that it's coming back. Like, it's been a while, but like, for me, I finally got the copy of mine, and it's just so powerful lineup. It's probably one of the most powerful counter traps in the game, and being able to just stop your opponent for even trying to build a board is a lot more important to me than anything else. Of course, you can always solve the problem, but I felt to myself like the counter traps, those specific 5, even though it's a little bit hurt me in like during time and all that stuff with like the new you know, time rules. I rather stop my opponent from doing anything instead of just losing instantly. So just having the Solemn Strike like complete lineup, in my opinion, is probably the best thing you can do. And that pretty much does it for the counter traps. And now we'll move on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, it's pretty basic. I am going to go over cards, and like I said, if you have the Persia of Synchro, run 2 copies of it just because, you know, you don't really care and you have a lot of space. But overall, the extra deck can be really room free. So starting things off, we run 3 copies of Utopia cards to make the Utopia package. Makes sense. Utopia package is pretty powerful. Next up, we also run 1 copy of Dark Rebellion. This is going to become even more important when we'll get the new drop pot card, because when we'll get that, Dark Rebellion will probably become a little bit better than Utopia the Lightning sometimes, because sometimes I'm going to banish some cards of the Utopia the Lightning package, and I will have to need another backup plan when that thing happens. You could run like 2 of each, but I think like filling your extra deck without, like, even that you have the room, filling up your extra deck with like same cards sometimes is actually kind of bad, because you want to have the ability to have the answer for every single situation. Next up, 1 copy of Baguska, because Baguska it's Baguska. I don't really need to explain. This is a deck that like could stall with this, so why not? Tornado Dragon to get rid of spells and traps, and yeah, it's a quick effect, so it's really nice as well. 101 because it's pretty awesome as well, just a nice removal for monsters. I also have Castell, but like I felt like having one of each is actually kind of nice as well. And then the additions that I think is so amazing that they brought it back, and I think it's one of the greatest things that they ever did to just make going second not terrible, is one copy of Excitonite. Excitonite, in my opinion, is a very, very welcome addition. There's some people who will say to me, like, this is a bad card to come back, but think about it. We don't have a lot of ways to just, go second good, as well as just in general. People can do an extra link with Cerberus, and doing extra link with Cerberus just stop this card effect altogether because he destroys, he doesn't send to the graveyard. If it was sent to the graveyard, I would say this card should never come back, even though it's really amazing, because it just over-the-toply broken. But because it's destroying effect, and you have the ability to stop those kinds of effects today so much, and you have the ability to protect your monsters, Excitonite, in my opinion, is just a welcome addition to just help break your opponent board if you have to. And you can. It's just a nice option to just help you. Abyss Dweller, if you're going like decks against Gokis, I don't know why would you play Counter Fairies against Gokis, but I guess you can. Gagaga Cowboy to just burn your opponent for game, and that pretty much does it for the Xyz monsters. And then for the Link monsters, I'm running one copy of Deco Talker, which is supposed to be the Light Link monster, because specifically the Light Link monster, A, you can make it a lot more easily, B, it's just giving you boost to your monsters, but it could be Deco Talker. Deco Talker is still a good Link monster in my opinion. One copy of Phoenix and one copy of Cerberus to, pop a spell and pop a monster, so it's like really, really nice. Pop a spell, trapping a monster, so it's really nice. And then one copy of Akashic Magician to just get rid of a pesky monster, just it points to you directly. So that's pretty much does it for the extra deck, and that does it for the deck profile. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this Counter Fairy, updates. Counter Fairies are not the strongest deck in the world, I would say that, but they're really, really fun to pick here and there. I would say they're a little bit better designed, in my opinion, than Diabolos, which is like the Lair of Darkness, because the Lair of Darkness have a lot of struggles compared to them if you're trying to play them pure, but, both decks are really fun, even though I wish they were a little bit better. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed regardless. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video as well. And like I said, if you like to follow all of my shenanigans, please subscribe. And if you want to see immediately what I upload immediately, just hit the bell icon. And I'll see you guys next time. And like I said, I will talk to you soon about the updates and the stuff that I want to do for the channel in like 2 weeks or so, because I feel that will be the better time, because I still have a little bit of thing or two on my plate right now that I need to take care of. It's not something major, just I feel like it will be a little bit better later. So anyway guys, see you guys next time. Have a good day and stay safe. Bye bye.